Hi everybody, it's Morley here, Anxiety Expert again, and today I'm going to show you some really good tips of how to reduce your anxiety and stress using breathing techniques. Breathing is very important, and I'm going to show you some of those techniques that we use with our clients as part of our Anxiety Freedom Program to help them to drop that anxiety and stress for good. So first of all, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been sending us in questions as usual. We love your questions. Please do keep them coming. I know I say this every time, but we love your questions and it helps us to put this content together. And also thank you to everyone who shares this with their friends and the family who might need it. It helps us all the time and it helps them as well. So keep those questions coming and let's move on to anxiety breathing. So breathing is very important. A lot of people say to me, a lot of clients say, Mark, don't be so stupid. Breathing's a simple little thing. How can this help me? However, if we don't breathe properly, we fall over, we drop dead. Breathing is one of the most important things in life. It keeps oxygen coming into the right places of the body. It removes the carbon dioxide and gets it out. It also helps us to detox, to alkalize the body. It's got so many different parts to it. The silly thing is, unless you go to some sort of meditation practice or maybe some religious group in your lifetime that uses meditation or prayer, you don't usually get taught how to breathe. Isn't that really silly? I've come across people quite late in life who are suddenly having what feels like heart attacks and all sorts of anxiety attacks, panic attacks, and they don't realize until they go to the hospital that they're breathing wrongly, incorrectly. So breathing is so important, and we need to practice it on a daily basis if we've got anxiety and stress problems. Very simple, much more powerful than most medications that go out there, and it's something we just need to do daily. So I'm going to give you some of the tips. So first of all, if we breathe incorrectly, you'll usually find that people with anxiety and stress follow the same pattern. It's the same as when you go into fight or flight mode. If you suddenly get ill, you'll find that people usually tense up, their posture becomes cramped. They start to breathe very shallowly in the top of their chest. So they're not using the full capacity of the lungs, they're just breathing shallowly, short little breaths in and out. This can lead to hyperventilation, but most importantly, it reduces the amount of oxygen in our system. It changes the balance between CO2 and oxygen in the right balances, and it can bring on anxiety attacks, panic attacks, and it can make things an awful lot worse. So when people get into that anxiety or stress state, they crouch, they breathe wrongly, they're pushing the CO2 way too much, they're tensing up the muscles as you get the muscle cramps, it stops the brain from working, you get brain fog, and we get a whole host of problems. So what I'd suggest is next time you start to feel anxious or stressed, I want you to examine exactly what your posture is like, what your breathing's like, and just make a note of it. And you'll find it's quite uncomfortable. And then I want you to change into a positive breathing pattern. And the one that we use, and the first thing I want you to do is just gently close your eyes now and breathe in for 4 and out for 4. Now you want to count how you breathe. Just notice whether you do breathe in for 4 or out for 4. And then I want you to breathe deeply enough so that your stomach is starting to move in and out by about a couple of centimeters. And just notice how that feels, how it takes over the whole of your back, your neck, your shoulders. Just notice how your mind calms down, how you feel really relaxed, and just notice how that feels. And then also be aware of the sounds of your breath as it comes in and out. And also be aware of the temperature of the air as it comes in through your nose and out through your mouth. Now it can be really, what's the word? can be a little bit disharmonious, probably is the word, when you first start to breathe like this, because you're changing your breathing pattern. And I know that when I used to have chest problems, I used to find it really difficult to change how I breathed. But I persisted with it. It does make you feel a little bit anxious to start with sometimes. And then what I want you to do is I want you to count how many you breathe in and how many you breathe out. And then what I'd like you to do is I want you to breathe out for 2 more counts than you breathe in. So if you breathe in for 4, breathe in for the 4, nice and gently, moving that stomach. And then move out for another 2. So if you breathe out for 4, you now want to breathe out for 6. And the reason why we do this is that when we breathe in, we actually push up those anxiety levels, those stress levels, our blood pressure very slightly. And then when we naturally breathe out, we take them back down again. Again, this is all part of the vagus nerve, the parasympathetic nervous system, our whole protection systems. So we breathe in and we push those levels up. And when we breathe out, we take them all down again. Now, if we make a point of breathing out for 2 more than we breathe in, we're constantly taking us down into that nice, relaxed level. It's helping us to relax and feel better. And if we do that constantly, it helps us to feel so good. So just try that. Breathe in for 4 and out for 2 more. So breathe out for 6. Or if your breathing level is slightly different, again, just breathe out a little bit more than you breathe in, 2 or 3 counts. And just notice how that whole body relaxes and goes down. Now, with practice, by doing this on a regular basis, it naturally brings our anxiety and stress levels down, that base level that's normally running, to a couple of points lower, if not an awful lot more. And as part of your daily practice, several times a day, you want to start breathing in a relaxed way. You can do it when you go for a walk. You can do it when you sit and meditate. You can do it when you drive, but keep your eyes open and focus on what you're doing. You can do it while you're at work, and people shouldn't know what you're doing. But make a point a few times each day just to check how you're breathing, how it feels, how you feel in your neck, your back, and your shoulders. Notice how you feel much more relaxed as you breathe out, adding those extra counts in. And then if you are feeling that you're having a panic attack or an anxiety attack or just feeling anxious, the third thing we can do is we can bring in this visualization that we're actually breathing through the center of our chest. So I want you to imagine that you're breathing in and out here, nicely, comfortably. You might want to give it a color. And imagine that you're breathing in and out through here. And again, making sure that your stomach, your belly is moving in and out. That's right. Making sure that you're breathing out for more than you breathe in. And just remember that as you do this, you help to relax every single muscle, every single cell in your body. You're helping your body to alkalize as you're pushing out lots of acid. You're taking away any stress or anxiety that was there. And we need to do this on a regular basis. As I mentioned, lots of people don't put much faith in this. It's very, very simple. You can search lots of holy and good and religious books going all the way back. You can go way back to Buddhism and Bon. And a big part of all these mantras is that they breathe correctly. And it's so important that we do this. And we need to practice this. Now, again, people say, well, I've tried it and it didn't work. You need to practice this at least 3 or 4 times a day, if not more. And you need to practice it daily. It's a bit like when we started to walk. We got up, we tried, and we fell over. And because we're doing something new and something that's very fundamental to our systems, breathing, changing our breathing, can be a little bit disturbing, is probably the best word I can use for it. But when you practice to breathe in and out and relax it so nicely, you'll feel so much better. And then the more that you do it, eventually it becomes unconscious. I teach clients all the time that with all of the techniques that I show them, that with repetition, just like riding a bike, it becomes so much easier. and we need to breathe in and out. And then just notice how that tension, that anxiety drops from the chest, the neck, and the shoulders as you sit there and you relax. And it used to be the same with me when I used to be on the computer all the time with a previous job, previous business. I get very tense and agitated in my shoulders. And by breathing and relaxing, that could just all drift away. And I could turn a tense situation as a way to relax. Whenever I noticed that I was tense or stressed in my shoulders, that's when I'd learn to breathe. So I start to breathe and use that as a situation to relax and calm down. I've had lots of clients who get that trigger, that anxiety trigger, that stress trigger, whatever it is that's coming in. And we teach them to use this as a signal. And this is the bonus of adding in the rest of the program, because we add in the self-hypnosis. We do this hypnotically so that it becomes unconscious. That once you start to feel stressed, you use that as a trigger to start to relax. And of course, the more those triggers come in, the more you relax. So then your relaxation scale just goes up and up and up, and your stress scales come down and down and down. So that's how we use breathing. It's very, very simple. There's lots of other types out there, and I suggest you find one that works for you. However, here's a really important part with all the tips that I teach you. Pick something and practice it over and over again for 2 to 3 weeks. There are a number of people, and I used to be like this, who are constantly searching for new information, new techniques, new ways to do things. And I still do that in moderation, but I'll pick something new and I'll work with it to 2 or 3 weeks. You've got to remember that when we create something new, a new sort of pattern, we need to practice that for 21 to 30 days for it to start to become unconscious. And if you're constantly just looking for new gurus, new techniques, new this, that, and the other, you're never going to master anything. You're going to have lots of knowledge, but you're not going to master anything. And as part of the Anxiety Freedom Program that we do, this is what I try and do with clients, is we get them to focus. We change their thinking for 30 days. They start doing new things. And with most of them, the anxiety drops down pretty quickly. But with a lot of other people, it can take, a good reduction in the first week, but it can take those 2, 3, 4 weeks for it to kick in to bring that anxiety freedom in. But this is all so important in that we do find ways to relax, to calm down, to put the self-care in, use the self-hypnosis, especially the breathing. We also look at food and diet and everything else. And once we get into that lovely relaxed state, we can do that while we're at work. We can do that while we're exercising, while we're playing, while we're dealing with the kids and everything else that's stressful. But simple little things like breathing can make such a difference. So what I'd like you to do is go off and practice that and let me know in a week's time. Send me a comment either on Facebook or YouTube or however you prefer, and let me know how this is working for you. And again, share this with your friends. Thank you to everybody who does that. And again, do send me your comments and your questions, as I do love them. It's so important to get these. We've got lots more content coming for you all of the time. And then if you'd like to consider working with me privately, the benefit of that is that you can help to get your anxiety freedom so much quicker and faster. You're coached all the way along. If that's something that interests you, just send me a message or pop to the link below, and we can arrange a one-to-one strategy call, as we call it, discuss how your anxiety and stress affects you, look at the best way forwards, and see if it's the right thing for you to do. So I'd like you to spend the rest of your day just every now and again, just focusing on your breathing, getting into that lovely, relaxed, meditative, stress-free mode. Enjoy that for the day, and I'll see you all soon. Take care.